It is your favorite reflective surface here for another unhinged swatching video. This is some of the most popular content that I make, and for those of you who are new here, what we're about to do, I'm sure you saw in the thumbnail, is disambiguate all of my bronzers by swatching them all side by side on my face. I'm actually gonna make a simple spreadsheet too for this, just to talk about undertones. I have not made the spreadsheet yet because I need to actually swatch these in order to negotiate what the undertones are live on camera with y'all. I have 2 boxes of bronzer. I think that we have somewhere between like 50 and 60 if I had to guess. We're gonna do cream, liquid, and powder today, and I'm not going to group them by undertone. I do feel like a lot of times it is more helpful to kind of like randomly see them compared next to each other, because a lot of times a bronzer will look normal, you know, when it's just on a product page on Sephora or something, and then you see it next to something else and you're like, wow, that's really orange or red or pink or green. I hope that this is super duper helpful. I'm gonna try and make each analysis somewhat concise, but this is still gonna be a long video, so let's go ahead and jump in. Let's start with some main characters. There are also contours in here because if you watched my bronzer contour disambiguation video, you'll know that I believe that there is no difference. What? No, that there's no delineation between a contour and a bronzer. It's like an arbitrary delineation because some people's bronzer is other people's contour and vice versa. Some people can wear like the grayest contour that I own as a bronzer because of their undertones. And that is what we're really unpacking on my channel in general, but definitely today. Do we need to adjust my camera? I feel like I'm in the middle. That's not in the middle. This is the Dior Forever Skin Contour Sculpt Stick in 01 Light. I only have 1 shade in this. There are going to be a lot of them that I have more than 1 shade in just because I do buy things from like a review standpoint, so I want to be as informative as possible, but this really looked like it was going to do the trick, and it does. We do have to be pretty judicious here with our swatches just because I think I need to put like 8 to 10 per row on my face. But as you can see, that is quite cool. I can still wear this as a bronzer. As it sort of blends out, it warms a little bit just because, do you see like the edges right there? As it shows my skin through it, you're gonna be able to see a little bit more warmth. And it's also a touch olive, but I think that as we swatch them next to each other, its true personality is going to be revealed. It's a beautiful formula. This is my favorite contour. I wear this constantly, especially because like it's actually for a luxury product, like so cost effective because it's so concentrated, but it's really, really easy to spread it out. Like, you know, the Milk makeup stick, which I don't even have one of anymore. That one is still really concentrated, but the formula is so not creamy that like it's impossible to make it not look super obvious and a little bit like dirty on the face. I have a lot of trouble with that formula. This is like what you wished for when you bought the Milk Makeup contour stick. A touch green, a little desaturated on me, but still can work as a bronzer and a contour. Next, we have the Refi Cream Bronzer in Dune. This entire line, not just bronzers, but the entire line is quite warm. She does really like a warm tone, but all things considered, that's a very flattering, rosy peachy shade. I think that that's probably, I'll swatch the Makeup by Mario next because that really strikes me as being the same color. I'm gonna be watching myself in my monitor a lot in this video, just apologies in advance. It strikes me as that kind of like really accommodating, not quite neutral, but a very safe color for bronzer for like a neutral undertone of my, you know, fair skin chroma. So yes, that is the Refi. Beautiful formula, very creamy, just it's really lovely. I haven't made that much use of it. I think it's a little more highly pigmented than I'm used to, but we're about to see whether it is the exact same color as the Makeup by Mario, because that would be kind of like fun news you can use, because if like this formula pisses you off because it's so translucent and that's the same color, that could be pretty informative. That could be helpful, you know? All right, so this is the Soft Sculpt Transforming Skin Enhancer in Light. Ow, I have a pimple. Ow, it's right there. Yeah, they're very, very similar. You can see because of the translucence of that formula, it looks lighter and it looks pinker. That's because my skin is showing through it, but they are very, very similar in tone. I would say though that the Refi is still a little bit greener than the Makeup by Mario. Fascinating. Very fascinating. And if you're like, Kackie, I don't see green, just wait. We will hit at some point a bronzer that goes orange and you'll go, whoa, I see all the green ones. Because green and orange really repel each other. They're not perfect opposites, but they repel each other. They're like a trine. The color wheel and the zodiacal calendar are just like merged in my brain. Anyway, just from a review standpoint, this is like my favorite bronzer. The Makeup by Mario. I buy it and I buy it and I buy it and I buy it. It is like the best for like a really subtle look. I use this color. I use this brush right here for it. This is the BK105 because it's the perfect size where it just goes bonk, 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 bonk. Very low stakes, and it brings the skin texture back on top of powder. We love her. Anytime I think I can live without that, I am wrong, and I end up repurchasing it. Next we have Vive Modern Radiance Cream Bronzer in Light. This is notorious in my collection and on my channel thus far for being quite green. I have seen it go too green on people, so bear that in mind. That's a desaturated green bronzer. I could use it, and I probably should use it as a contour. When I did my Vive video, I put this on as a bronzer. It did kind of like show a lack of synchronicity with my skin. You know, like it's a little too green for me. I can get away with it, but there are better things in terms of color. But God, what a gorgeous formula, and always news you can use in terms of people who need green bronzers. I have an entire video on this. I'm not going to deep dive on it because I made myself go cross-eyed and lost sleep making that video. I have a video that's like it has like little cards, these little matrices of your best colors for your undertone. So I will link my Color 30 playlist at the end. All that to say, this is a gorgeous formula. It is not my ideal color, but I do think that, especially, you know, by virtue of the way that this packaging looks, it seems like this was kind of a redemption arc attempt for the reformulation that everyone hates so much of the Chanel bronzers, which I do have. And in that context, this is like just such a beautiful formula. I feel like she nailed the formula if the color works for you. This is one of the newest ones that I have. This is the Just Like Paradise bronzer from Sarah Creel, and this is very similar in formula to the Makeup by Mario. It has that gel texture to it that it just looks flawless on top of powder. Like you put it on and you're just like, yeah, dude. But it isn't the same color. It is much greener. So there you can see, oh, ooh, okay, now this is, okay, it's not orange at all. It's actually kind of like a rosy olive, which is interesting, without it being that orange green thing at the same time. Like sometimes these bronzers will be orange and green at the same time and it scrambles my brains. I do not like it, but now you can really see how green the Vive is. It's kind of all about comparison, right? So is this for everyone? No, because it's $50. Like that's a little bit silly for this little tiny thing of bronzer, but it is beautiful and it is a really unique shade. I'm actually kind of doing a little bit of mental analysis right now to figure out what color that is. It is still a very pretty kind of, like I said, like it's peachy with a little bit of green in it, but it's just more saturated, like it's giving bronzer on me, not contour. And so like the Vive is looking very, very contoury at the moment. In fact, it is like the most contoury thing I have on my face thus far. This is not just going to be a cream bronzer video. I'm going to now do the Luminous Silk Bronzing Powder from Armani. This is my favorite. She's looking a little worn in. I love this thing. This is another one that's very olive undertone friendly. Now, bear in mind, it does have a little shimmer in there. I have never really noticed it on the skin, but it is there. So I will put that here. Oh, it kind of grabbed on my sunscreen there. Don't do that. There we go. Let's try that again. Beep, beep, boop, boop, boop. I'll just tap. So it almost looks orange by comparison, but what it is actually, and why it works so well in a lot of undertones, is that it's red, okay? So many brands, I feel like, are afraid to make things red because people associate red with irritation. But think about what your skin does in the sun. Like for people like me, you know, a natural looking sun exposed look is kind of irritated. Like it's a cute look. I'd rather synthesize it with makeup than go and get a real sunburn. And so the fact that like that has green in it, but also red, it's like, it's rich, you know, the way that the light hits it, that's what makes it so natural looking and so accommodating. So it's like, yes, this works really well for olive undertones because you can see it has that little bit of olive underneath it, but it also has like overtones of red to it, and it makes a really beautiful, complex looking, like natural, neutral looking bronze on the skin for, you know, undertones that are like neutral to green. And that's one of my favorite formulas. Slap it on with a brush. I also just have a kink for like a gigantic pan of bronzer. I love it. I love the feeling of abundance. This is abundant and bad, unfortunately. This is the new Dior Forever Nude Bronze. It's a shade 10. They came out with 2 textures in this. I'm not sure if both textures came to the United States. This is just the soft matte. One of them I think was more shimmery. I was hoping, I really don't like that smell. I was really hoping that this was going to be as cool toned or as desaturated as it looked like on the website when I bought it, because there are only 4 shades, and you would hope that if you were only doing 4 shades that like at least you'd hit the extremes, you know, but they all rush to the middle. It's really weird. This was a lot more orange than I was bargaining for, okay? Ugh. You see how like that's peach and now we're into orange. Like we are owning orange. It's oversaturated for a color that belongs on like fair skin. Like as it spreads out, there you go. Like as you can see, like the sheerness of it, beautiful formula, absolutely beautiful formula. But as it spreads out, you don't get the rosy peachiness that you get from something like these two. You can see that one is just it's just pulling orange, and it's really unflattering on me. So like I said, I think that if you can wear an orange bronzer, still there's a good chance that something more nuanced would work better on you. Okay, this one I have actually never worn because I just bought it and I didn't apply it in my last video because I put 4 other bronzers on my face in that video. There was just only so much face that I had to offer that day. This is the new one from, new, but I mean, you know, new since I started buying her stuff. Bisou Blush from Violette. I did kind of cast an aspersion, and I stand by it, that I think that she made a brown blush in her blush collection so that she didn't have to release a bronzer range. Kind of a cop-out to me. I made a video about richness versus hollowness of a color cosmetic on the skin, and while that's an okay undertone, it's just so deep that when it goes onto my skin, you can see it has this translucence to it that it's like it would need something like this underneath it in order to fill the difference between my skin being as fair as it is and this being as deep and translucent as it is, or it would look really muddy. So I don't know exactly how much use I'm going to get out of this, but I do like that it's red. I do also think that it is very much for like medium to medium deep skin. I don't really think that it's gonna serve much of a purpose on deeper skin than that, and it's pretty. I love this formula. You're never gonna hear me complain about the formula. Plus, it smells incredible. It smells like citrus. Like, I don't know why they put that smell in this instead of in a perfume. I have been imploring them to make this into a perfume because I would buy it so fast. Oh, it smells so good. It's pretty though, you know, and it's kind of got that like rosy red thing to it that I think is gonna work on a lot of people who might have more like it's gonna pull a very like authentic looking bronze on people who might have a harder time finding a bronzer. So it's not for no one, it's just not for me, you know? This is the weirdest thing I've ever bought. Like, why did I buy this? I think we were just having a weird, again, dearth of new releases, and I was like, that's new? Sure. I don't know. I don't even know if it was new. This is the Melting Bronzing and Sculpting Stick from Too Faced. Your girl bought this completely forgetting that Too Faced makes everything smell like food. And it's just gross. It's so gross. I got this in milk chocolate, which it is a contour. Yeah, very much so. And like, I've gotten use out of it. You know, you can see I have. It's pretty. It just also happens to smell like an old Bonnie Bell lip smacker back in the day, and like, I don't really want that. But like, that's a damn contoury contour, all right? Like, that thing's gray. News you can use, let it be known that the fairest shade in this is really accomplishing contour. And it is a very, very pretty formula if you can get past the like temporary embarrassment of your contour smelling like fake chocolate. Okay, next we have the Soft Sculpt Shaping Stick from Makeup by Mario in Fair. I think I got rid of Light because I think it was like extraordinarily expired, and I have all all of his other formulas in light. And so it's like, all right, we know what color that is. I kept Fair because Fair came out later and it is a very good kind of like fair skin contour. Isn't it gorgeous? This is one of those colors that, like, if you need desaturation and a little bit of rosiness, it could still be an amazing bronzer on ultra fair skin, you know, because it's not quite to the point of being as gray as that Too Faced. It still has the peachiness to it. And I always say this, like, I don't know, you know, with inflation and whatever, if he's cranked the price of this up at all, but like, this is 10 grams of product. Like, this is a makeup artist kit oriented amount of product. This is made to be used, and it's a beautiful formula. I love his original cream sticks. I've said this once, I'll say it again. I think Mario Dedivanovic has been bullied most by like the Sephora of it all into making formulas and more and more and more formulas when his first formulas were the best ones that he made. And I speak of him as being the victim of that because if you have ever followed his Instagram, you cannot possibly assign a malicious intent to that man. He seems like an angel on earth. So I'm just going with that. I'm gonna go ahead and do all three of these at the same time because they're all the same brand. So I have 3 bronzers here from Persona. When they first came out with Teddy, a lot of people with really like red undertones, they were like, yes, finally a bronzer for me. And I'm like, wow, that's for someone. You know what I mean? That is for someone and it is not for me. Holy crap. What is that? You know what I mean? Like, it's great. It's beautiful. If you have red undertones, like that's going to be a gorgeous, wearable, rosy bronze on you. But like on me, girl, it just looks like terracotta. It wasn't really even intended to be a bronzer when it came out. It was definitely intended to be a blush color. But like when you spread that out on my skin, it looks so ill at ease. It just does not work at all. This has been a formula that has always been good, but it took them a long time to make shades in it that really blew my mind and like changed my mind about like it being overall a product that was worth it. This was one of the shades that they came out with, Mojave, that did the trick, you know, that kind of put it really firmly on my radar. So this is like that fair skin bronzer. Ooh, wee. Yeah. It's just got like that much more richness to it than this is the Vive, I think. So it's not as green as the Vive. It's got a touch more just like sincere rosiness to it, especially if you kind of spread it out. Like when you have it on a heavy swatch like that, it's not quite the same. You can see it's got a little bit more peachiness to it. This is the neutral fair-skinned person's like ideal, easiest to wear bronzer color of all time. Like there are going to be other ones that are incredibly similar, but like from the color to the delivery system, for my skin tone, this is such an easy bronzer. Sometimes, do I want to be bronzer than this? Yes, but this is the easiest. Does that make sense? I wear that Dior contour because sometimes I just want to be like sexy bronze. This does not give sexy bronze because it's not high enough contrast against my skin. It gives a really natural bronze. And then we have like this new one, new to me at least. I didn't know that this existed, but when they sent the stuff in the new packaging, they sent me this other shade called Sahara. Mojave, Sahara, yeah, they're deserts. We get bronze in the desert. Thank you for following me on that yarn. Anyway, here we have, wow. Okay, very similar to Marni. This is Mojave. Obviously, this is not for me. Like, that's the point. I got this in PR, and I do tend to, a lot of times, get colors of things, you know, more than one, just so that I can show for other people, because it's not always about me, you know? So if I can get my hands on other shades in something, I'm going to. So that is gorgeous. I love that formula, and it is a little bit even more like red than Marni, but very, very similar. And I think I actually like this formula better than Marni. Biggest, messiest swatch, and I put it like right in the middle of my face. Crushing it. This is one that I had an early disagreement with, and then we came to terms, and this is the new Westman Atelier Sun Tone Bronzing Drops in the shade Soleil Parfait. The thing here, the ticket, right, is that you gotta use a brush for this. If you use a sponge, it will dry in the sponge, and then it is firmly game over. That's how a lot of these things work. I actually realized it when I was using the new ones from Glow Recipe, and I was like, oh, this is not just a West Atelier issue. This is like a serum liquid color cosmetic product issue where I'm using the wrong tool. It's drying into the sponge and then it's picking my makeup back up. And so it's like I switched to a brush and everything got a lot better. That is such a unique color. Could you please dry though so everybody could actually see you in the light? There we go. That's a little bit better. What a beautiful, neutral, desaturated rose color. My God, is that pretty. Do you see how like some of them are as desaturated as that, but they'll be like kind of green? And this one is desaturated and rosy? Get real. Okay, next. One of the best gel formulas out there. This is the Jones Road Gel Bronzer. Holy crap, what an incredible product. I love this stuff so freaking much. There are 4 shades in this. This is the shade Light, and it is, it's just so easy to use. It's really up there in those textures that I've been so excited about lately, but it's kind of the only one of its kind there for a little while, at least in my collection, that like applies so easily. It has a little bit of like a thick viscosity to it. It looks like it's going to be orange and it's not! Look at how rosy it is. Now, bear in mind that Jones Road also has a bronzer that I might have it, I think I have it, that's rosy, that's like pink. And so she understands that like fair skin tones, bronze is not, you know, all created equal. And so this is very much a like nice rosy leaning gel bronzer, and the formula is divine. Wildly expensive, are you ready? But the Hermes Healthy Glow Mineral Powder Plein Air. I have it in 01 Totori. You do not need this product. You do not. But it is pretty special. It has this unique thing about it that is so subtle, and that's the point. Is they don't even call it a bronzer, they just call it a mineral, you know, glow powder. You know, it's a really, really like subtle kind of powder, but obviously that's a bronzer color on me. That's quite built up. It is the slowest building thing. It is so gorgeous. It's such a specific kind of product, but it is like, it's like a bronzer that shades the difference between your bronzer, your other bronzer, right, and your skin tone and stuff. Like, it's such a subtle thing, and I don't think that it's something that you can't find elsewhere. I'm just glad that I have it. I think that it's beautiful. I don't think that anybody who buys this, like knowing what color they want and stuff, is going to be disappointed by it. And I also think that that's a lot of the purpose of my channel, is so that you're not out here trying and failing at $115 products, but to get an endorsement from someone who has tried this many products to tell you like yes, no, up, down, what have you, like who it's for. This is a beautiful product. Not everything from Hermes I feel like does something super duper special. Like I feel like the highlighter is a little too highlightery kind of thing. The blushes are gorgeous. The lip colors are gorgeous, things like that. But like the Plein Air skin tint, who cares? I will say this is one of, if not the most, like special Hermes product that, that's not true. Because the lip products exist. That orange lipstick and then the plum lipstick, Prune Noir. Wow. Wow, Prune Noir. But anyway, yeah, they do make some exquisite products and this is among them. It does have a fragrance. It is extremely slow to build. Like, that's the whole point, but it is still a bronzer. Even though they say that it's just a powder, it's a bronzer. She made this a long time ago and I bought it a long time ago and I've had it ever since. It's definitely expired, doesn't matter. I'm going to swatch it. So this is the Contour Sculpting Powder from Natusha Denounou, and I have it in 01 Light. I think at the time of my first buying this, I was like, wow, this is the best contour color for me ever. And then I was like, whoa, that is green AF. Like, as I'm putting it on now, and I don't think that it has discolored. I don't think it has. But like when I put that on, what it does is it really makes me think, you know, it makes me very acutely aware of how much my taste in contour has changed, going towards things that are still warmer than you would typically think of for a contour. I have moved into safer territory, as it were, wearing like brontours rather than things that are like high stakes, cool tone, desaturated contours. This is a very like on me, like high stakes, desaturated contour, but it is a beautiful formula. And I just love that like it's huge. And she does still make this. This is on Beautylish. It comes in several shades. It's a lovely formula. And honestly, there are plenty of people for whom that is a very functional bronzer. This is the one that truly is the algorithm breaker, because I was like, no, this is truly a contour. This color is truly a contour. Like, no one could wear this as a bronzer, and then lo and behold, people show up in my comments and they're like, that one's a bronzer for me. That's what I wear as a bronzer. So like, there are no rules, okay? There are no rules. This is the Sephora contour stick in Fair Light, and it is absolutely the grayest, the grayest thing that I own. It's too gray for me to wear. I mean, good God, look at it. It's almost blue. And there are people who wear this as a bronzer, and I believe them. I believe them that it looks really good on them. You know what I mean? Because the world is full of different kinds of people with different skin tones, okay? And that's the point. Can you believe, though? Like, that is, like, if you want something very, very, very gray, it exists. And I know that Phytosurgeons came out with one too. I think it's just called like Dust, but like, I defy you. You know, I think that Dust is probably that same color. Okay, next is a new one for me, and this actually has two colors in it. I think I'm gonna do them separately instead of swirling them together, just so that you can see. This is the new Laura Mercier in Marseille, and one of these is kind of like a highlighter blushy situation, so that's that, but it's still pretty bronze. Like, that does not look like that's what that color is gonna look like, does it? It's freaking copper. I don't have answers. I don't understand why that's the color that it is in the pan and then the color that it is on my nose, even from a saturation standpoint, but like, very interesting. I need to give more attention to this and like get a better idea of my feelings on it from a formula standpoint, from a saturation standpoint, from a color standpoint, all of it. But just looking at it right now, that is that kind of like red-green hybrid that I like, you know, that's good for olive undertones. But this right here, the jury's out. I'm not sure if this is like a flattering level of shimmer. When I put it on, I was like, like, I like that y'all did that, but at the same time, like, I'm not sure that I wanted it to be half of the pan. I kind of just wish that we would have gotten like maybe a lighter bronzer and a deeper bronzer or something like that, or a bronzer and a contour. Like, this is an odd set of choices, but I might end up loving it. The thing that ended up saving it in that video was actually the Sarah Creel bronzer. I just ended up pounding it on top of everything and it just improved the entire situation. And that one is also not scented. Some things from Laura Mercier are scented. Their lipsticks smell horrible, horrible. I do not understand. This was actually, I think, the first Glow Recipe product that I ever owned. I hope that it is still good. This is the Glow Recipe Sun Glow for their Watermelon Glow Niacinamide Hue drops. There are all, you know, manner of these at this point, but this is the bronze one! Have I used this? No, not really, because do I need bronzing drops? No, I am pale and I am fine with that. I will say, there is a new self-tanning sunscreen that Allies of Skin put out and they sent it to me, and I've like been too chicken to try it, but I need to try it and just see. Because it's gonna be like a gradual thing, right? You can kind of stop before it gets too serious, hopefully. Anyway, this is a serum. This is not meant to be worn as a bronzer, I don't think. You can see it's very, very translucent. It's just, you know, meant to be, let's be real. It was when TikTok was obsessed with the debronzy drops, which are so mid. They're so mid. You're not going to see them in this video. I don't own them anymore. What a mid product. And yet, everybody and their mom and their dog and their mom's dog made a bronzing drop. I was like, at the end of last year, I was like, we have enough bronzing drops. Yeah, and it's like very different if you think about this versus the Jones Road, for example. Same consistency, same delivery system, completely different use cases, because this actually functions as a bronzer because it has so much more pigment to it, whereas this is very much meant to be like something that you put on alone if you like tan your body and not your face, or you mix it in with a complexion product to deepen it or give it that beautiful glow that you do get from the Watermelon Glow drops. That is the thing that Glow Recipe does so well, is their textures. But like, I wish that they had just made a bronzing serum, you know, like a bronzing serum that I could use as a bronzer. I hope that they do, because those blushes are, I don't know how many times I can say it, they're exquisite. Okay, make some actual like bronzer colors in that formula. I would like it so much better than this. I have absolutely no use for this, but it is nice. But I've been like really enjoying the plain ones, the regular untinted version of those drops. It just made my face look dirty. All right, here we have the matte bronzing brick from Victoria Beckham. You can see I have used exactly none of this. My friend Natalie felt sorry for me because my last bronzing brick was like falling apart and cracking, and she bought me a replacement pan for it, God bless her. And I know better now than to make any real use of this. I'll use it as an eyeshadow occasionally, but like this is really not a very functional color on me. It's not a bronzer and it's not a contour. It's really like not the best color for anything on my skin, but this one, I don't know what they did here, okay? It is the most useful color that I own, and not for being a bronzer, but for being the thing that I use as like an under eye setting powder or anywhere where like I need to blend between things that have like too harsh of a line between them, between the formula and the color of this. It's an irreplaceable step in my routine, and it is different, you will see, from like the Hermes. I'll do it over here so that it's next to the Hermes, but like, is it different enough that you need both? Probably not. You know, I think that the biggest thing is like, are you gonna buy something that you're only gonna use one side of? In my case, yes, because I don't understand why it's so stinking unlike anything else. And that color does nothing for me. It does nothing for me. I don't know, it's like it's too desaturated and rosy. It just doesn't look right on me, really. And then this one, it just sings on my skin, but it's like barely there. But what a gorgeous formula. I really would like her to put these out as individuals. That would be nice. And I also would love to see her do a setting powder. A pressed setting powder would be incredible in that formula. But there's those. We're done with one box. Oh my God. Let's move to the other one. Oy. Oy vey. Some of these I think are expired, and that is why you don't see them on my channel very much, but I keep them for just such this purpose. Now this is not expired because I've literally never opened it. This is the Miracle Balm. Cue the controversy in the comments about the Miracle Balm. I truly feel like there are certain products from Jones Road that she makes because yes, she knows that like some people they're actually going to appeal to, but also like she keeps doubling down on them because they're so controversial. Like there's something about certain products in her line that it's just like super polarizing. People love them or they hate them. And I personally hate the Miracle Balm. But that's what this is right here. And this is in Pinky Bronze. I believe that this is somewhat new and you have to break the seal. That's what they always say. There you go. Break the seal. The colors are nice. The concept is fine. The thing I don't like about this is that it doesn't dry down. It's just not a very high-tech product. And there are plenty of people who have, you know, specific skin types, aging skin or whatever, where they're like, that's exactly what I need because my skin is just going to continue soaking things up and I love how low pigment it is, X, Y, and Z. I'm like, I don't want my hair sticking to my face, especially when gorgeous textures like this exist from Glow Recipe that are going to give me the same appearance without being sticky. I don't want a sticky face and this is going to give you sticky face, but it is shimmery. While it is not, I don't think fragranced, it has a very strong like clean beauty medicinal herbal smell to it. Again, I have always said this about Jones Road, but wow, that's actually really pigmented. Like some of her stuff really isn't, you know, and you're like, great, how much of this do I have to put on? Beautiful color, yes, but still doesn't have enough complexity to it to like do what her bronzing drops do. You can see too much of my skin through it for it being as kind of deep and ashy as it is. It's giving hollow. Like that's what that look is. Like that's hollowness. But I always say this about Jones Road. They have two kind of branches of their line. One is it's new and different for the sake of being new and different. This or the What the Foundation. And then there's other things like, you know, this and the new skin tint, tint and moisturizer that are high performance pieces of makeup. So there's kind of something for everyone, but it is a little bit weird to navigate her line at first. Either way, that color is fine. I hate the smell of this stuff. I don't like the experience of using it. And it's just, it's not for me. And I have to be really honest about that because that is my job. I just don't like that it's kind of greasy, balmy, and that's all that it does. And that's for some people, and it is very specifically not for me. One of my favorite bronzers on the market, absolutely hands down, is the Gucci bronzer, especially in Eclat Soleil. Oh my God, it's so rosy. It's so easy to wear. In fact, I need to just wear it more often because, oh, look at that, it's so nice. And the formula is like ridiculous. It's so soft. It's so finely milled and like velvety feeling. Again, just like everything else, this one had, I love the Gucci scent. Ooh, I don't want to wear it on my lips, but like the smell of that powder is great. It smells really good. They do put too much of it in the lip products and I don't want to taste it, but It is super duper rosy. It's not having the easiest time spreading right now because it is so finely milled and I only have complexion product on. I didn't put powder, so it's kind of like soaking as quick as it can, but you can really see the hollowness of that color, the pinky bronze from Jones Road, against that because this has the richness to it, and it's also just a fairer color that's meant for my skin tone. It's got that same thing like we were talking about with the Westman Atelier drops, where it's got the most pleasant level of pink to it, that it isn't going to go orange on olive undertones, but it also is just really easy on fair skin to just pound it on, because it's not super pink and it is very like fair skin oriented to begin with. And I must mention, even though I got this earlier on, oh wow, you can't even really tell because it's so dirty because I've used it so much, but the new one, they've replaced this ring right here with more turquoise, which is not my favorite thing. Nonetheless, this is the most beautiful component that I own. It is the prettiest product, holding it in your hand and everything, and it actually lifts up and there's, you know, supposed to be a brush in there. Okay, you know what I mean? All the luxury fashion houses are still living in the age where, you know, we're all on the go doing our makeup in the back of a cab. Maybe you are, I don't know. I don't want to use one of those brushes to do my makeup, but look at that freaking component. It is so utterly gorgeous. Like, it gives me the best vibes when I use it. I love it. So I have all of the shades of the Ciel bronzer. I have 1, 2, and 4. Where the crap is number 3? That's not good. Oh, folks. I just might not have number 3 because if it's not here, it's not anywhere. You know, it is what it is. I don't know what happens to things. So this is the Ciel, they call this the Sculpt and Protect. Yes, you could technically say that a bronzer sculpts, but like, I do think that that is a bronzer, not a contour, personally. It's got enough like rosy desaturation to it that I feel like you can get maybe a contour out of it on certain skin tones, but for me, it's a bronzer. It's a beautiful bronzer though, like an incredibly beautiful color. Look at that. Woo! It's got that same lovely, accommodating rosiness to it. The only thing about this is the formula is stiff. We're gonna go into shade 2 now, this is medium. The formula is stiff and waxy, and I'm not really sure, you know, what that lends to like the performance because it's got SPF in it and things like that. So it could be that, but it is worth working with it and warming it up and getting it on the skin evenly and everything because it wears forever once you get it down. But like, it is a little bit stubborn. Like it's something that I don't reach for because of the stubbornness of it. I would far rather work with something that just has more silicone to it and doesn't feel as like waxy and stiff. So that is shade 2, which is more green, as you can see. And then we have 4 because I cannot locate 3, and it is quite deep, but you can see the resistance. And it's got a really lovely, like almost like a blue purple thing to it, which is lovely. It's a rare thing to find sometimes for deep skin tones, you know, like deep skin tones need different undertoned bronzers too. And that is a really unique color. Okay. Next we have, I don't know why I only have 1 of these, but it doesn't really matter because they only put out 2, and that is why no one talks about this product. It's a shame because this is an utterly gorgeous product, but they only made 2 shades in it and they both work for me, which means that that's not okay, okay? This is the Surratt Artistique Bronzer in Soleil 2, and it's got a little bit of like an olivey thing to it, and the other one I think was a little bit rosier, but it, as beautiful as all of their powder products are, they shot themselves in the foot essentially when they did this release because there were no shades in it, and it's like, why? Now no one's gonna talk about your product because no one's gonna sit here and stan a product that, you know, comes out in 2 shades like that. All right, let's get this big boy out of my bag here. This is the this is the Airbrush Bronzer in 1, and this is one of my favorite, maybe my favorite bronzer for a long time because it's so fair. But I have since learned that it's actually not a very good undertone for me. I was just appreciative that it like built as slowly as it did, but it's quite orange still. So it's just not really one that like stays in circulation. And it's a shame because it does have a replaceable pan and it is massive, but like other better things exist from a color standpoint, you know? Like it's got a little bit of green to it, but it's mostly just kind of orange, and it just isn't very flattering on me. Okay, this is one that really surprised me. This is the Say Glow Sculpt in Quartz Glow. Okay, first of all, for the size of that component, the pan should be bigger. that feels meager. But this is a formula that I did not love in other colors, and I'm not even sure that this is necessarily meant to be a bronzer because it came out as a shade of like blushy highlighty things, but it does happen to be gorgeous. So let's do that. Look at her. She is beautiful. She's beautiful, okay? It's rosy. It's so stinking pretty. And much like a lot of the shimmery cheek products that came out last year, we looked at it and we were like, I don't want metallic face. But this is another one where it's like when you apply it thinly with a brush or a sponge, I guess, you don't get metallic from it. You get like a diffused light kind of thing that blurs on the skin. It doesn't look like a glitter bronzer or something or like a highlighter. It's very, very lovely. And it's a really pretty formula. And if you're new here, I'd like to contextualize that within the fact that like, I don't love everything from Say Beauty, okay? So if I speak highly of something from Say Beauty, it means something. Let's actually go ahead and keep cooking on Say here because I have a few more of their bronzer products and they're good. I do like their bronzer products. So I have here the Dew Bronze. I love the Dew Blush and they just came out with some more shades in it that I'm very excited about. So I have Sand and Salt. So Salt is very much a contour color on me because it is quite gray. So here's actually, what do we want to do? Do it over here. There's Salt. Holy crapola, right? Like that is a very uncommon color in all of this. Yes, when you blend it out, it is sheerer than that, but it is a quite like ballsy green color. Okay, like girlfriend is green. And then you have Sand, which is more of a like neutral, a little bit, but as it spreads out and stuff, you can see it's a little bit more peach. So they work really beautifully together, but Salt is like not for the faint of heart. It's just a color that is not for the faint of heart, okay? And good for them. Good for them for making something uncommon. And then I had the original lightest shade in this, and then they put out an even lighter shade, and I think I got rid of the first lightest shade. I have Fair Bronze in the Sun Melt. What an absolutely gorgeous product this is, okay? And like I said, is Say usually top of my list to get my money? No, it's gorgeous. It's another one like Mojave from Persona, where is that going to give me the most delicious beachy bronze that like makes me look like another person, you know, like I'm inhabiting some kind of vacation fantasy self? No, it's going to be something that when I put it on thinly with a brush, it is going to look like a real tan on me in like that rosy, soft, very close to my skin tone kind of way. That's the beauty of bronzer, I feel like, is that it's not always about just finding your bronzer shade. It's also about figuring out what you want bronzer to do for you. Do you want it to make you look bronze? You know what I mean? Or do you just want it to be the color that brings some life back to your cheeks after you put coverage on? There's a big difference, you know? And I'm not saying either one is like good or bad. You kind of just want to know which one you're doing on a day-to-day basis. Okay, I only have one shade in this at this point. This is the Le Beige Healthy Glow Bronzing Cream in 390 Soleil Tan Bronze from Chanel. This is VOE expired, but I'm just gonna do it anyway. It's so flipping orange. I know, like there's nothing about this, and I hate this formula. It's so thin. It feels like the Coco Rouge lip balms, you know, where you're just like, why is it so thin? Like it feels unluxurious how thin it is. It's just like, ugh, not for me. Not for me. Here's the powder version of that Sephora contour real quick. I'll go ahead and put it right next to it because if you want gray, girl, I'm giving you gray. Actually, maybe this was the one that somebody said that they use as a bronzer because that I could see. It's not quite so slate colored, although it is. It just has a different undertone. So like if you look in the light, the cream one has like a blue thing to it, and this one has more of like a purpley red thing to it, but still very, very gray. The most gray things that I've ever stumbled upon. I don't know what happened to all of my triple threat color sticks from Thrive, but the one that remains is the one that matters, and that is Mo. This is another bronzer, very similar, like I said, to like the Sun Melt or to Mojave. It like fades into my skin in the most natural way possible. It never makes me look like, oh, I need to bronze my neck, you know? It's not gonna do that. So this is such a gorgeous, like fair peachy color. Ah, it's unbelievable. And if there's one thing that I will say about Thrive Cosmetics, I mean, I will say lots of things about Thrive Cosmetics. Carissa Bodner formulates for wear time, okay? I mean, you could use any of their products as like wedding makeup. The color is going to stick around. Things are gonna wear. Like, they have a much wider appeal because they don't really like try and be as trendy, but the colors and the performance of the products are so there. They're so there. And that is just gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous. A little bit pink, a little bit peach, very desaturated. And the other thing about this formula is, unlike other creams, this is gonna give you more of a matte finish, which is nice. I appreciate that. All right, I have only one of these for some reason. I have several of them. I don't know what happened to them, but like, this is another case of like, most of these colors work for me, which is not really speaking highly of a shade range, you know? This is Tan Lines from RMS. All that to say, if you find a shade in this that works for you, oh my God, this is such a gorgeous formula. So, you know, I am not necessarily standing one way or the other. I will just say both things can be true at the same time. Gorgeous formula, gorgeous formula. The blushes are gorgeous too. And like, there is a little more differentiation in these shades than there are in like the Dior, for example, or the Surratt for sure, but it's still imperfect. But Tan Lines, as you can see, is green. It's green with that little bit of red behind it that is gonna work so nicely on olive undertones. It's this formula that's like baked and mineralized. And so when that goes on the skin, it is just blurring and gorgeous and slow building. Like, this bronzer is so pretty. It's so freaking pretty. I just don't talk about it that much because the shade range was so limited. Let's talk about the 2 shades in the Ciel bronzing drops that they put out. This is the Bronze and Protect Bronzing Concentrate SPF 50. So here is shade, well, I'll start with shade 1. I really can't decide which one works better for me. I like them both. So there's shade 1. I'll blend them in a second. And there's shade 2. Shade 1 has more blue, as you can see. And then shade 2 has more green. I can wear either one. And the whole point is that, you know, they're concentrated enough that you can kind of mix them with other things. And they are, y'all, be warned, so concentrated. That is what they are designed to do. They are a concentrate. So mix them with things. Do not apply this directly to the face. That's not something that I would recommend doing, but they're really lovely. I made a bit of a miscalculation. I do have more of these somewhere and I just don't know where. And I ended up giving away one of my Rare Beauty bronzers to Rebecca when she was here. But this is Mellow. This is the one that is more of a bronzer. The other one is more of a contour on me. So Gentle is more of a contour. So there's Mellow. She is really, really pretty. Woof. Oof. It's got that same thing where as you spread it out, it gets a little bit like peachy. Isn't that nice? Gorgeous. It's a very, very pretty, very easy thing to wear. I love this formula. I really do. Again, we're in this like serum-y, liquid bronzer, liquid product of all kinds kind of territory that just, this one actually does work beautifully on a sponge. So it's just one that I just don't have any complaints about. I think that they really struck the right balance of the shades and also the concentration of the formula, because her blushes are a lot more concentrated and this is so easy to use. So pretty. Now, I have these 2 from Makeup by Mario, and this was one of the more disappointing releases that he did because I feel like he kind of, this is just me projecting, but it's like, I feel like he kind of got bullied into making another bronzer formula. They're like, it's what you do. Ew, something's wrong. Oh no, well, you know, maybe I'll just swatch them on my hand. I don't really want to put that on my face, but ew, it's yellow. Ew, maybe the color is just separate. Ooh. Okay, I'll just put it on my hand. I'm not putting that on my face. Actually, y'all, they've discolored. There's no point. You can see it's got like yellow in it. Like, it's actually discolored. That's disgusting. Okay, these are going in the garbage, but this is the Soft Sculpt Bronzing and Shaping Serum. It's a 12-month expiration, but I don't even think I've had them that long. They're nasty. So these are the liquid bronzers. The thing that I don't like about these is that they're really invisible, but they're about to do a disappearing act. Bye. Ugh. I wouldn't have recommended buying them anyway. Okay. Next, and I know you've all been waiting for it, we have 2 shades from Glossier. This is one of the best adaptations of a blush formula to a bronzer that I've ever experienced, because sometimes it doesn't work. Like the Pat McGrath ones, that didn't work. So here we have the Cloud Paint in Dune. Patience, patience, my loves. This, I believe, is the 2nd lightest shade, and Swept is the one that everybody loves for olive undertones, although I would argue Dune is actually pretty beautiful too. It would probably go a little too orange. Also, the lid just catapulted itself off my desk. What else is new? I would leave if I could too. Makeup. This formula is so incredibly gorgeous. I do think though that the shade that I wear is extremely special. So it's like a great combination of the formula and the fact that it's a bronzer in general, and then also specifically this color for me, and I wear the shade Sail. You knew it was coming. Look at that. Glossy still got it. All right, Glossy still got it. Even though they copyright striked a photo that I took like 4 years ago of some of their products, like of my hand holding them up in the sky. I'm like, fire whoever this company is. I took this photo. You don't own this photo. This is my photo. They copyright striked my photo that I took of their product. Okay, whatever. Yeah, it's like the ideal peach. And then the cloud paint goes such a long way for the amount of product that you use. Like this little guy, I think is still like $22, $24, something like that. It is so affordable in the grand scheme of things, and the colors are really well informed for the entire range. It's great. Beginning to look like an owl. I have 2 shades in the Rare Beauty bronzing stick, the Warm Wishes bronzing stick. I just have always thought that was so clever. Power Boost, which is I think the original Fairest shade that they did, and it is quite warm, but still also quite lovely. It's sort of like a saturated brownie peach, you know? It's not for everybody, and it does go a touch orange on me, and they probably encountered that from a lot of people. And so Bright Side is one that I can wear kind of as a contour, but as you blend this out and it gets a little more translucent, you can see it is also just an absolutely gorgeous, very fair olive desaturated bronzer. Rebecca gets use out of that. It's very, very pretty, but you can see, I mean, we're in territory that's getting somewhere, we're not quite to like a rosy taupe that you might associate with like a fair skin bronzer, but we're also not all the way to like gray that you also might associate with a contour, so. All right, next we have the contour wand. This is the new one because she released an actual shade range instead of just 2 shades. So I bought Fair Darlings, and it's really pretty. Is that a contour on me? No, but like it still functions. It's still really pretty. And again, I've been really leaning towards colors of contour that sort of bronze. It's like lower stakes anyway, and I think that Charlotte really leans into that. So you can see it's got a really nice amount of red to it. That's what I like about it. I think that it could work really, really beautifully as just a bronzer. I might start just wearing it as a bronzer. It's so pretty. And I like it a lot better than the like original shade. I think that I still have that around. Hang on. So this is the original Fair Medium. Probably expired. Yeah, and it's much darker and greener. Yeah, that's the old lightest shade, and this is the new lightest shade. And I like this so much better. The formula is good. I do think the Rare Beauty one's better. I don't know, did you hear that? I think the Rare Beauty one is better. We have the Westman Atelier. This is another one where it's like, is it a bronzer, is it a contour? Who cares? Use it however you want. This is Biscuit from Westman Atelier. It's so pretty. I want to say that when we initially swatched the bronzing drops, this is the exact same color as the bronzing drops, like in the fairest shade. So bear that in mind. She might call it a contour, but like, that doesn't mean that you have to listen, you know? It is a bronzer. It is whatever you want it to be. It is one very specific thing, and that is a beautiful, easy to use formula. I love her bronzers and her blushes, like the stick format of them. They're lovely. Here is, oh my God, one of the greatest formulas of all time. This is the Westman Atelier powder bronzer, the Beauty Butter powder bronzer. This is in the shade Coupe de Soleil. Coupe, the, you know, the lightest color. And this is, oh my God, like you can barely even see it on the tip of my finger. It just blends into my skin so well. It is an unbelievable formula. I remember when she first was like on my radar, and look at that color. Ah, it's so pretty and rosy. Ah, it's like almost Gucci. Gucci Westman. I really need to get off camera. Like it's not good. I remember when I first tried this, I was like, why would you put out a powder bronzer when all of your other products are cream? And we were like not in this place at that time where we were letting cream and powder really touch one another, you know, because creams were like really, really creamy in a lot of cases, and hers just aren't. They do have a really nice hybrid finish on the skin, and this does too. They kind of meet in the middle. It's like the creamiest powder I've ever used and one of the most like sophisticated hybrid creams I've ever used. So Gucci has always known what she was doing. Not all of her products are my favorite thing in the world, but like this is exquisite. We have the Dolce & Gabbana Face and Eyes Match bronzer in light. This is one that, again, even though it's really nice and fair, you're gonna find that, you know, it's kind of like that Charlotte Tilbury in the sense that it just is a little bit too orange for its own good. As it sort of sits on the skin, do you see that? It goes peach, 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 and then it kind of goes, I'm gonna be orange. Yeah, it like alchemizes in not the greatest way. It's not the easiest color for me to wear. It is a peach that leans just slightly to yellow, but the formula is lovely and the packaging is also really nice. Really, really nice. So pretty. I think we have to move into the mustache zone here. We have 6 left. Can we get 6 swatches on my mustache? We're about to find out. All right. One of them is the Film Star Bronze and Glow. This is probably my most used powder contour, but it is quite a bronzer color. As you can see, it fits right in neatly with like biscuit and all the other things that are kind of that peachy bronze color. I just wish that she would make a full-size pan of it. I don't want to buy 2 of them, but this is also a very good educational exercise because now I can see other things that are this color. And it's only just been in my head that I've been using this as a contour when it's like almost the exact same color as the Gucci. That's news I can use. We have one of my favorite bronzers before all the cream bronzers came out. Like it was like my top bronzer for a long time because of the color mainly. So this is the Kackie Butter Up Play Bento, and it is, you know, a bronzer, a blush, and a highlighter. Do I use the blush and the highlighter? No, I used this cream bronzer back in the day. Was this fragranced? Huh. It smells nice. It's definitely expired, but it doesn't smell like rancid or like it's gone off or anything. But this is such a beautiful formula. My God. But like, since this being one of my favorite things, many, many brands have come out with things like this since then. It isn't as like slippy and gel-like as the like Makeup by Mario or the Sarah Creel. It has more actual creaminess to it than that, and it does make it kind of unique. I still think that this is a unique product, and the color is beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. Does kind of look like the Makeup by Mario. If you look at it there versus like that being the light color, and I also have Makeup by Mario light powder, it does go a little bit peachy, especially as you like thin it out a little bit. It's a wonderful, wonderful little formula. Again, another thing that I wish was sold separately. And then we have the Soft Sculpt Bronzer. You can see this is old as the hills. I don't really use this anymore. There are just other things in my collection that I use more, but this is the Makeup by Mario, and that was one of the favorites, honestly. When his like line first came out, everyone loved this one specifically because it was one of the like more well-informed light bronzer shades for a long time. I feel like so many brands have like really elaborated on their bronzer ranges since then, but this still deserves kudos for being such a well-informed shade range at the time. And the formula is beautiful. It's just blurring and pretty. He does know bronzer. I don't think that he wanted to put out as many bronzers as he put out, but he does know bronzer. All right, we have 3 left here. We have the Jones Road. This is the bronzer in Dusty Rose, okay? Don't get it, ooh, it's so soft. Don't get it twisted. This is still considered a bronzer by her. And I guess this is another example of just like, it's in the eye of the beholder. What's a contour? What's a bronzer? What's a blush? It's all just about the color. You know, it's a color and a formula. I just prefer to think of them as art supplies. Either way, for people who are very fair skinned or very fair olive, this is actually a believable bronzer color. I still have some real estate at the end of my nose too. Let's do that. Me, 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 me. So on, you can see, while it is pinker than everything else on my face, it is actually the color of my lips. I could probably use it more often. It's very pretty. It is not comparable really to anything else that I have on my face right now because it is just so unabashedly pink. But it does that because like it's very on purpose. Some people are very, very fair and have either pink undertones or olive undertones, and that is exactly what they need in a bronzer. And the formula is delightful. Then we have, honestly, one of the more disappointing products that I've bought in a long time. This is from Dior, and it is like this instant hard pan product. This is the Rouge Blush Color and Glow in Contour and Glow. Don't get confused. Try not to get confused. But it is supposed to be like a contour shade, and it's fine. I really do like the color. The color is gorgeous. The formula pisses me off because it instantly hard pans and you like can't pick anything up out of it. Between that and then the highlighter being like, you know, it's just not a particularly useful product. It's very scented. I want to say those aren't the same smell. No, they're completely different from each other. This Dior bronzer and this Dior contour have totally different smells. This one smells like old flowers. It's gross. Like it's gross, smells like dead rotting leaves. And then this smells freaking delightful. It smells just like actually the blushes from Violette. It has that citrus smell to it. Yes, I have a preference, okay? It might just be me, but like that is so much more pleasant. Dior, are you watching? Take note, this smell, not this smell. Please, Please. Last one, and we did manage to manage the real estate well enough because I got one little spot left here. Gonna try not to look like Hitler. This is the Power Sculpt Velvet Bronzer in Light Level 1 from Haus Labs. This is the most like it truly feels like suede. Like that's what it looks like, that's what it feels like is suede. It's a very interesting formula, and this entire shade range is just so nuanced and beautiful, and this is an absolutely lovely formula. I love this one. I think it's again another one that's got enough green in it that it's not going to turn orange and olive undertones, but it's not one that I get that much use out of because it is a little bit green. You know, I would far rather go towards something that is either super desaturated like this that's very easy for me to wear, or has the balance of green and red the way that like the Armani does, or that is going to give me that like peach safe zone bronze that I can just go absolutely nuts with, like I can the West Metelier or something like that. So again, I have an entire video on your best colors for your undertone. That doesn't mean they're the only colors you can wear, but they are like the best go-to colors for your undertone. And I think that that's really informative even in talking about bronzers sometimes. And then we also have a video on like finding your undertone. So, oh, there's like real estate right there. I wonder if we have like one more bronzer I could hunt down. I don't know how we did it, but I found shade 3 in the CL to complete it. And that's actually right up next to all the other CL things, isn't it? Those are the CL ones. So no, not right next to it, but this is number 3, the one that we were missing from CL. It won't go in the component. Okay. Anyway, I couldn't leave y'all hanging like that. So there's 1, 2, 3, and 4. And 3 has that really nice redness to it. It's a little orange, but you know, not like plainly orange. Boy, you can really feel though, like that's a stiff formula. It's got a little bit of peachiness to it. It does go a little terracotta for me. I mean, obviously it's not my shade, but at least now we have full coverage. All right, well, I've got some work ahead of me because I now have to map all of these into a spreadsheet. I hope that this was educational and fun for y'all. It was fun for me. I love doing these kinds of videos, and I'm always proud of myself when I actually get every single thing in a proper space on my face. So if you enjoyed this, please give the video a thumbs up, y'all. If you are new here or you have not yet subscribed, what more incentive could you need than me looking like this? Subscribe while you're here. We would love to have you. I would love to have you. I appreciate you being here today. I will put a video up here that I think you'll enjoy. I'm gonna put my playlist, my color theory playlist up here for y'all so that you can kind of poke around and explore. Put a lot of work into that. I hope you enjoy it. Thank y'all for being here. I love you so much, and I will see you in the next one.